Hey guys, it's Young Acty the Political Kid here, back again with another video. And I'm sorry it's taken so long for me to get videos out. I've just been pretty busy. I did officially move up to UCF, so I'm officially a UCF Knight. I've been trying to get the move done and get started in college, so there just hasn't been a lot of time to produce new videos. But I really feel like this is an extremely important topic, perhaps the most important topic that I've ever discussed on this page. And I've always had this profound belief in politics. My passion for politics has honestly saved my life. I can say that 110%. Without this passion, I could possibly be in jail right now. I definitely probably would not have gotten into college. I wouldn't have fought hard enough. So I've just always had this profound passion, just belief in politics and government, and the power that it has to affect change and really help people. But I am so scared right now for the future of this country. I've always believed that, that everything that people have said concerning like Trump being Hitler and all that stuff, and that Trump ruining the country has been hyperbolic, right? I believe that the system, usually I believe that the system is stronger than that. But with the news that I've just received, it's just, I'm scared. So let's just get into it. So today we're going to talk about a possible scenario come November. And Kyle Kalinske dropped a video on this a few days ago, just talking about the possibilities of this scenario. In that video, there's an interview on Axios on a smaller company named Hawkfish. Now, Hawkfish is a company that is funded by Michael Bloomberg and has done a lot of work for the DNC. So I can see people being skeptical about this information from the jump. And that's okay, I understand that. It's just on the off chance that this does happen, it can be detrimental to the future of America. So let's just get into it, talk about it, see the video.
A mirage, by definition, is something that appears to be there, but that doesn't really exist. And you have a model scenario called the red mirage. What does that mean?
The reason we talk about a red mirage is, in fact, because we believe that on election night, we are going to see Donald Trump in a stronger position than the reality actually is. We are sounding an alarm and saying that this is a very real possibility, that the data is going to show on election night an incredible victory for Donald Trump. That is likely to be what we see when every legitimate vote is tallied and we get to that final day, which will be someday after election day. It will, in fact, show that what happened on election night was exactly that, a mirage. It looked like Donald Trump was in the lead, and he fundamentally was not when every ballot gets counted.
You have a result on election night where it appears that Donald Trump has won, but a result after ballots are counted that show that Joe Biden has actually won.
That's right.
Let's get an obvious question out of the way first. Hawkfish is a company that's started by Michael Bloomberg, that does work for the DNC, that's doing work for pro-Biden super PACs. If I'm a Republican voter, an independent voter, a skeptical Democrat, why should I listen to you?
One of the things that we believe is that facts matter. It's not about disinformation or misinformation or using fear as a tactic. There are objective truths in this world today.
And how do you build your modeling? How are you basing your projections?
We essentially built a simulator where it's a sequence of sliders, and you just pull those sliders to start seeing what the scenarios will show you. What's it going to look like on election night? What's it going to look like the day after, and the day after that, and the day after that? In most every year, Democrats are more likely to vote by mail than Republicans, and that has only increased this cycle. We see in the data that twice as many voters intend to cast a ballot by mail than have ever before. They are disproportionately Joe Biden's supporters. Because there are absolutely some ballots that were mailed in that get counted sooner because folks were proactive and got it in as soon as they possibly could, or dropped it off, or showed up to a polling station where early votes allowed. But it's going to take a while. It might be weeks. Because absentee ballots inevitably are harder and slower to count, we are going to find ourselves that when you have those prototypical cable news talking head moments of saying, well, you know, here's what we're seeing and this is what it looks like, it's going to show Donald Trump in the lead in a lot of key places on election night when in-person reporting has occurred.
What about California or New York?
California is blue. New York is blue, right? Some of the but Virginia is a really good example of a state that should be blue that turns out red in this
on
moment.
election night.
On election night.
Okay.
So a state like Pennsylvania, Florida, it's in play by just a couple points, and that's what tips it in one direction or another. If you were to essentially average battleground state polling, Joe Biden appears to be ahead by about 8%. And so if you have a number of ballot challenges in a state like that, as big as it is, as large as the population is, as diverse as the population is, it can make a really big difference over those next 10 days. And so when you start accounting for that in your modeling, you see that 8% lead kind of whittle down a little bit more. We might have the results saying something on the evening of November 3rd that it will not say the evening of November 10th.
What difference does it make if the results seem to show something on one night, and then several days later, the results show something else? Won't the facts just bear themselves out?
I think that's the America we all wish we probably lived in. I think we've got the Trump team who's quite intelligent and sees what's coming, and so we have the president messaging through tweets, through what he said at his rallies and his speeches, this notion of any change from that result on election night, he is signaling they will say means fraud has entered the equation.
So as talked about in the video, there's a scenario where potentially, because mail-in voting takes so much longer to count and have everyone fully be accounted for, there's a chance that the result on November 3rd is extremely different from the actual results, okay? And that could be extremely problematic. Okay, now stuff like this has happened before, like in 2000 where, Al Gore and Bush, and there was that whole situation with the way that Florida counted their votes because there was a different type of voting system in place. The difference between then and now is we are extremely more divisive than in 2000, right? So 1 in 3 Americans actually believe that there could be civil war in the next 5 years, right? That is huge. That is huge. It really calls out how torn apart this country is right now. It's basically like we're in a cold civil war. So if this happens, the strong 35% of the country that is vehemently for Donald Trump, that would die for this man, we could see them do things that could tear apart this entire country. Okay? And that is extremely scary for me, because it's like watching a car crash in slow motion. We have all the information. We know that that's a possibility that might happen now. And Trump's team knows it too. He's been out there in rallies and tweeting. There was one tweet where he said, any difference between November 3rd and any time after that is fraudulence. That's just evidence of fraudulence, right? And his people will definitely believe that. They believe everything that he says. So if they do believe that, that starts the Civil War. That starts it right there. So I think it's extremely important just to come out and say it and have everybody know that there's a possibility that might happen. And what I want to do is I really encourage you guys to go and look at Kyle Kalinski's video and what he said on the topic, because I just want to expand on that. So